a retiree who overcame polio, a little girl who loves the color pink, a rambunctious 3-year-old, and a first grader who was born deaf. All residents of North Central Alabama, each with a story to tell about what it means to be a child of children's. It was back in the 1950s when Brice Romine first began making the trip from Rogersville to Children's Hospital of Alabama.
I contracted polio when I was 2. Probably for 7 or 8 years I had surgery on my legs every year, summer break, school break. And usually in the hospital for 2 to 3 weeks and then go home and be in a cast for about 2 months. And then school would start back. They just looked after you and, came check on you at night and gave you anything you needed. And I just felt loved. When I started, I was on crutches and a back brace, full leg brace on both legs. And within, 5 to 6 years, I was without them, any of them, for approximately 40 years, without any support, Carried on a normal life without any aids. If I had not had this clinic, I never would have walked, I'm sure. I never would have went to school or been a productive member of society.
A recent battle with leukemia led Brice to reflect on his time at Children's.
One of my, I was down and said something about I didn't think I'd make it, and she said, "Don't you believe in miracles?" And I said, "Yes, but not for me." But then I got to thinking maybe I'd already been through a miracle before and just didn't realize it.
3 years ago, Tyeasha Summers got a paper cut that wouldn't stop bleeding. Doctors diagnosed her with hemophilia. Her local doctor referred her to Children's.
They treated her, diagnosed her, everything, and they said that she did have hemophilia, and at that time they said it was like a moderate state of it. She would probably bled to death if she were never diagnosed.
Today, Tyeasha continues to visit Children's several times a year.
Children's Hospital's like, I guess like a good friend, because they teach you educationally what to do and medically what to do for her. They provide the stuff she needs, like equipment she needs, like the helmet, elbow pads, and knee pads. I would just like to tell Children's thank you for all the help and encouragement that you have given me and my family.
Thank you for taking care of me.
Caden Parker is a typical curious 3-year-old, always on the go. To see him now, you'd never guess he was a very ill newborn.
Caden was born with a congenital diaphragmatic hernia, which is a hole in the diaphragm. His intestines were in his lung cavity, and it affected the development of his lung. So when he was born, he couldn't breathe. They told us they were going to send him to Children's. They said otherwise he's healthy, and they wanted to give him the best chance possible. He was there for 7.5 weeks, and he had his first surgery when he was 5 days old, where they repaired his diaphragm. So we were almost getting ready to go home. I saw that light at the end of the tunnel. And then all of a sudden I get a call that something's wrong and they're going to have to do another surgery. But that surgery was a godsend, because after that, and he recovered from that laparoscopic surgery, he came home drinking out of a bottle and breathing room air. If it wasn't for them and the grace of God, he wouldn't be here today. And I know that. I know that. Not only did Caden get a miracle, Caden is a miracle.
Riley was born deaf, but we didn't know it until she was 18 months old. We had some suspicions, but I guess we just didn't want to know it. And we finally took her and had her diagnosed. And the audiologist told us that she had never heard our voices and she didn't even know her own name. So needless to say, we were devastated. It was just a combination of shock and guilt all rolled into one. But after we got over that, we took the next step, and the audiologist sent us to Children's, where she was evaluated for cochlear implants after she had her hearing aids for a couple of months.
6 weeks after the implant surgery, it was time to go back to Children's to have the implant activated.
It's just the most amazing thing for you to see your child hear your voice for the first time. To see her reaction. You know, they don't promise a miracle, but that's what it was. Because she could hear us. And it was so funny. Her face turned really red. And we were all just, "Hi, Riley, hi, Riley." And she just looked around the room and she saw us and she smiled real big and she started clapping and laughing. It was incredible. Because we knew she could hear us finally. And now we could sing those lullabies that she'd never heard. She could hear our dog barking now and the birds singing. So it was great.
Thank you for helping my ear.
This, then, is what it means to be a child of Children's. It means you once received a special kind of care at Children's Hospital, an experience you will remember for a lifetime. It means you have a story to tell. And like Brice, Tyeasha, Caden, and Riley, a wonderful future ahead of you.